Wyrd. Like, how do we start this with high energy? And I'm like, but I just found this wicked guitar riff that just brings into the episode. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Nice.
You know?
That would really help out a lot, yeah.
I thought that was cool. Yeah. Welcome to the new and improved Toast of the Wyrd, where I actually went and got some editing software and started tinkering. Very, very interesting. Once we get the affiliates in place, I'll plug the software that we're using, but it's absolutely easy. Totally not free, but there's a free version of it. So I upgraded. Got the good stuff. That's why we got the screaming cicadas out of the background. We sounded a little robot-y. I'm not going to lie. We sounded a little robot-y. I tried to do what I could with the clearing of it up. Not so good. But here we are, man. So you were talking to me about worms. You want to talk about worms or warrior quotes? I think warrior quotes would be a good, strong way. See what I did there? To really start this episode off.
So yeah, anyway, parasites in your food, folks. So be careful.
All right, we'll go with fear mongering.
Fear mongering, nothing. I think it's just education. I mean, how many cultures around the world still do parasite cleanses? We were talking about India; they do it there. I know some places in the Middle East. It's just culture. I mean, Africa, they talk about different roots, different plants and stuff, like papaya seeds, I believe.
To kind of like heal the parasites out of your body?
No, yeah, I mean heal them by killing them all.
Yeah, my wife was telling me about pumpkin, and if your animals eat pumpkin, they'll paralyze the parasites, like the bumworms.
Yeah.
To quote Bluey, there you go. How do you tell me you're a dad without telling me you're a dad? I got bumworms. Anyway, that'll paralyze the parasites. That'll be edited out. That'll paralyze the parasites and allow the dog to pass, right? So is your
like pass the worms or just pass as in
just like poop?
Okay, good.
Poop them out.
Oh no, absolutely. It's what it is. Is you have to kill all the worms and let them pass through you. They talk about headaches and acne and all bunch of stuff. And they're like, why were you told as a kid not to eat watermelon seeds? They're actually freaking harmless to you, and
they're actually rich in nutrients.
Yeah, completely harmless. So do not tell your kids to spit out watermelon seeds. They are like ridiculously easy to chew anyway. You don't even notice.
And they're high in some kind of vitamin or mineral that we normally need and don't really get, which is why they've taken out the watermelon seed from that. I am really on that kick of food is medicine. You know?
It absolutely is. It is the poison as well.
Yes, but the quality of the food that you put into your body is definitely the quality of body that you're going to have. I'm not body shaming. I'm not trying to like...
Oh, no, I mean, you didn't talk about size at all. You talked about food.
Yes.
You can be, I say this with pride, there are larger, beautiful people out there. You don't have to be a skinny fucking pole with, sandbags on you.
Yeah, and the whole thing that I'm getting at is how well does that machine run? If you're loaded with parasites and you're like... we got to put that on video, dude. We got to test your theory, because I still think it's malarkey, but... we do experiments, we show up, we do it, and we put it on video, and there you go.
What if you see some parasites? You're going to stop eating some foods?
Yeah, if I do see some parasites, I'm going to stop buying those foods for sure. Because the hierarchy of food is like wild foraging, your own backyard garden, and then whole foods at farmers markets, and then like at the very bottom is anything that they sell you in a grocery chain.
Well, I think it has to do with right now, it's just the cleansing of it, because even if you eat 100% caveman diet, you will have parasites. You will still have parasites because it comes from a natural food that we eat. The issue is we've stopped treating it as our ancestors knew to do. So we've stopped having that beneficial health. So instead of me curing you and you not having health issues, it's easier for me just to treat your headache and treat all this other stuff. Treat, not cure. Treat.
Oh yeah, dude, like I was telling you the other day, I went to the ER yesterday and they treated me real good right out the door.
Yeah,
but I heard some people in there saying some weird bullshit, but like that's way off topic.
Well, I mean, it is a weird toast. What were they saying?
So there was this one patient who came in, and now you gotta have a little bit of background knowledge for this statement, but they said that they were allergic. God, what is it? I gotta Google it, dude. I'm sorry. They were allergic to basically opioids, but they weren't allergic to oxytocin. I forgot what.
Well, oxytocin is something that's produced in your body. Right?
Oxycontin.
Oxycontin. There you go.
Oxycontin. Sorry,
No.
I apologize for that mistake, but they were allergic to the same drug, and the physician's assistant went, "Well, what was it? Codone?
Oxycodone.
Oxycodone is that."
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like that person was literally trying to set themselves up just to get high.
That's exactly what it was.
So, and the physician's assistant was like, "Yeah, I catch your bullshit. I see your bullshit," without saying, "I see your bullshit." You know, he did it very professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like taken aback by this person trying to fish for that.
Most people do. Like, it's terrible when I say like 90% of people go in there, they're just looking for drugs.
Yeah.
Basically hurt themselves.
Yeah, but that goes back to the whole, food is fuel for the body.
Mm-hmm.
The quality of food that you put into your body is the quality of performance that your body will provide.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to tell you to go out and snort a line of fucking Pharaoh ants or whatever, but really, really, people should be looking into the nutrition and the macro and micronutrients that are good for the human body and good for them. And, if they're having issues, they should focus on a food first mentality and then medicate from there as needed. I'm not saying all medicine is bullshit. I'm just saying, like...
No, medicine's real.
Yes.
But where's it come from?
Plants.
Exactly.
Food.
So when you...
Food sources.
Yeah, so when we chop it all up and add crap or the stuff that's in there, we don't care that it's going to give you fucking testicular cancer as long as it fixes your anal leakage.
Yeah, or, I just can't right now with all this. It's a war that's going on with our minds. It's a mind virus. It's a mind virus, as our one listener says, Joe Rogan. Are we the one listener of Joe Rogan? I like that
mind virus.
He says that a lot. He says, this is a sickness. This is a mind virus. This goes on and on and on. And then he'll talk about whatever random off-the-wall shit he wants to talk about.
No, it is. It's all absolutely true.
But it's that need to be cared for, which is absolutely valid, versus that need to care for yourself, which is also absolutely valid, This could go many, many ways. I'm going to let you reflect and digest because you brought up the parasites. You wanted to talk about it. But in my mind, the parasite thing is bullshit because wouldn't it go into the stomach acid and they just die in the stomach acid? Because the stomach acid is the strongest acid on earth.
Well, with that being said, isn't there bacteria and whatever stuff that can survive in deep space?
Yeah, well...
So, I mean, honestly, stomach acid is... I don't think it's the most... But I think it might be the most commonly used acid. So I think if I was a worm or something, I'd be like, hey, bath time.
Yeah. Well, there's also that volcanic snail.
What?
It survives. You've never heard of the volcanic?
What are you talking about?
Google it. Like, literally, look it up right now.
Snail just crawling around on magma?
Snail.
What?
It can't survive in certain cold temperatures. Like, it can't survive on Earth's surface. So, yeah, I'm not saying that, life isn't this mysterious and wonderful place where all kinds of things can survive in all different kinds of conditions. But I'm just saying, like, if there are these parasites... wouldn't our body already either one, adapt to them, or two, eliminate them? Because our body has its own defense system. But then again, parasitic is a parasitic creature is also going to adapt and overcome and survive in its best way forward as well.
Absolutely.
Did you see that volcanic snail? No?
You learn a lot, folks, by using auto text. It tells you exactly how shitty you speak. Volcanic snail.
Well, man, if we're going to turn this into our professional lives, you better learn how to speak.
It happens a lot, too. Wow.
Trip on your own words.
Not just that, but what I get a lot is either I have a really high tone, really low, and no one's
Really
listens.
quiet tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing looks gnarly.
Yeah, it's awesome. But that's just proven that most life can survive and adapt in the roughest, absolute roughest conditions.
Iron suit, volcanic snail with an iron suit of armor. Wow, the coolest animal you've never heard of. Fuck yeah, it is.
We'll put that guy on a shirt and sell it to people.
I was just thinking that, dude. Look at this fucking badass snail.
Dude, we seriously got to get the Toast of the Weird up and running with some merch, man. Buy our merch, Joe. We could really use some help, please.
I recently learned the volcanic snail exists. Their shells are made of iron, and they live around hydrothermic vents that can reach up to 750 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
Just looks like a piece of meat that got cooked. This looks like a fucking clam that got overly cooked and it's burnt like a marshmallow and you're ripping it apart. Like it's just the red goo is kind of coming out.
No, that's what it is.
I know, right? Like, that's crazy. Like half of it's underneath is just iron plating.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not like it's running around like, so I'm just trying to imagine this snail like on some magma or trying to crawl and there's just this lava flow and it's like, whatever, just balls up.
Yeah, it just goes into its shell real quick. It's like, oh gosh, that's going to happen again. Time to go for a swim. Whee!
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that creature goes into a cooler condition, it dies because it needs the heat. Like it survives in that environment, which is awesome. Nature is wondrous.
Actually, that makes me kind of curious about something. I want to use the volcanic snail as a concept. Some of us have a huge thresholds for pain, suffering, depression, etc. Right? It's like would just kind of literally kill people, would just take them down. Other people thrive on chaos as well. Mm-hmm. Other people can't have anything but peace. And that snail reminds me a lot of that, what you were made for your environment. Some people are just literally made, or not made for it, but have a tolerance for abuse or...
It's that survival instinct. It's that I have to survive this no matter what. And then that goes into like generational curses, depending on how you want to take it.
Wow. That's true. Wow. Because some people like, God, fuck. This apocalyptic movie with Viggo Mortensen in it.
I don't even know who Viggo Mortensen is, so...
Aragon.
Oh, okay.
Lord of the Rings.
All right, now I know who he is.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's like a post-apocalyptic movie where the world goes to shit afterwards, and he's with his son.
Okay.
So it's as the world is like as the society is collapsing, his wife gives birth to their child or whatever, and starts going on, and she literally just like has a psychotic break and like just fucking wanders off in the fucking darkness, and he's like left there holding the baby, being like, and she just has a mental fucking break and just cannot handle what's going on, and just literally just. I don't want to say unalives herself, but just goes off into just whatever.
Wanders into whatever fate has in store for her.
Yeah.
And he's literally sit there left holding the baby and has that split second of a choice. Do I save the mother or do I save the offspring?
Yep.
So he chooses the offspring.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
Like she just lost her mind and he's just like sitting there like looking at like what the fuck? Like she just had a mental break. So yeah, some people can just survive through almost anything.
It's all about what you can handle and what you can tolerate.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Speaking of the next economic shithole that we're about to go into. So I was listening to Tate. I actually, instead of just listening to the shorts that he pops up on his little web of fucking wannabes, I don't know how else to describe that. I listened to him speak for 20 minutes, and I'm just going to call it out here. That dude is a CIA Psi-op. I'm going on record for that.
So you're thinking that the Tate Experiment, is that an experiment?
The Tate Experiment is totally an experience.
The Tate Experience. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the experience is an experiment to adapt a mindset amongst the younger generation, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. And I'm kind of piecing it all together right now. I haven't really thought this through, but just going down a weird rabbit hole.
He's thinking out loud.
It's
not a complete idea. He's just...
No, I'm just saying, like, if you look at the state of American children now, they're kind of soft, they're not ready for war.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But then you get all these machismo influencers out there who are like, you got to be macho, you got to work out, you got to be able to run up stairs. Da, 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 da. You've got your Goggins, you've got your Waller, you've got your Tate, you know, you've got Rogan even, who's like, yeah, just do some jujitsu. Like, this is all part of a Psi-op to get our youth generation to start to man the fuck up, because times have been pretty easy for our generation, you know, Generation X, millennials, and Z. They've been pretty easy and soft for us. So now you got all this machismo out there trying to get the men ready for war. I think that's what the Psi-op is. Just, you know, off the skin of my teeth.
That young gentleman who I was working with, who told me to fuck, or he said fuck you to me.
Yeah.
Again, goes back and forth being my best friend. He was telling me on the news the other day, they talked about an automatic draft now or whatever. Automatic sign up for the draft. Did you see that?
That's been in since Vietnam. That's been in place since before Vietnam.
Okay, there's something about the news or whatever, and he was talking a bunch of shit, and he's like, yeah, I'll go to war, and blah, blah, there's a draft, and I'm just kind of like, okay, young man. And he's talking about draft, and I was like, you know, it's a little older. I was like, but Eminem had a really good lyric about that. Remember, it was when we were back in high school. Forgive me, Eminem, but the lyric went something like, you know, war, whatever, draft, he's like, I'm 35, you're 18, they're going to take you before they take me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen that.
I said that to him, just like, yeah, dude, yeah, be all cheered up for war, man. I was like, they're going to take you right away. I'll be here.
The selective service has been in play since even before the Vietnam era, but the Vietnam War is the first time that they actually used it, where they conscripted like a whole generation to just go and die in Vietnam. But that's totally a different topic. My dad was an actual Vietnam War vet, so I got to see firsthand him trying to relive the Vietnam War to figure out why we were even there in the first place. And I told him I figured it out because, you know, hey, Dad, love me.
The Gulf of Tonkin? Yeah.
It was a favor to the French. The United States military went into Vietnam as a favor to the French to try and get them to pay back France or whatever the fuck the deal was. I forgot since then, but I know that the United States was there because of a deal to the French.
Yeah, and a lot of our shit had nothing to do with what we think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it all boils down to money, economics, and finance.
Oh my God.
All boils down to that.
So, again, not my original thought. No political leaning one way or another. Make that disclaimer. This person had an interesting theory about the war in the Middle East right now.
Okay.
I don't know if we talked about this at all. We talked about economics and everything.
Who cares if we had... Let's talk about it again, because repetition is the key to viewership.
I think it has a lot to do with the... Forgive me which one, because I'd have to look up some of this stuff, but some juicy stuff people think about. It has to do with creating another, like, seaport. So right on the Gaza Strip, if you look at it, would be the perfect scenario for a fucking extended seaport through that fucking area.
Okay.
And if they cut that through there, they'd be able to save all kinds of billions of dollars in shipping and all this other shit, because they wouldn't have to go through, I believe it's the fucking Panama Canal.
So you mean to tell me that the temporary seaport that the U.S. just built to aid the Palestinian people isn't going to be temporary?
No.
I mean, that seems legit.
Right? Yeah, I didn't even know about that before she brought this up. So if it's in the Gaza Strip, absolutely, it's just a fucking...
Yeah, I love when we put two things together. Like, this is the actual news as it is right now. And I use news in quotes. Sorry, dude, I need to fidget.
Hell yeah, fidget.
I need to fidget with something.
The way she said it, though, it made perfect sense, though. It's just like, that's the most logical explanation of why we go to war anyway. It's all money and...
Yeah, it's
papers and all this, and we don't give a fuck about who dies.
One oligarchy looking at another oligarchy going, that's a valuable resource. I want that. That's all it is. A lot of the current modern wars have been wedged against countries that don't have a Rothschild style reserve bank in it.
It's true.
Yeah, and I know, like, yeah, you're just a woo-woo crazy person. That's cool. I'll go to my grave knowing that I'm a woo-woo crazy person.
So says the person whose TV is bigger than their library.
Right? What's your Google history look like?
I'm serious. You know what? One of the things I want on my bucket list when library? I die, not having to worry about someone erasing my search history.
Right.
I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, I don't know why everyone's always so like, oh, erase my search history. I'm like, what are you so fucking looking into that you're afraid someone's going to notice when you're dead?
Porn.
Well, no, I know porn, but again, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you so into that you're so freaked out about? Like,
yeah, what kind of weird shit
that's what I'm saying. Like,
to get your jollies off these days.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I'm just like, and especially with the bar being so fucking high now, like, again, it's not even that you look at porn that, let's just say in the 50s, you had a nudie magazine, you're a pervert. Yeah. Nowadays, that level of being a pervert is like,
it's considered artistic expression now. Whereas, like, never mind. I don't want to go there with this podcast. I don't want to take that to this place, but like,
speak on it. Live your truth.
If you've got clown bukkake and that's what you need to get off, that's weird. That's a little weird. But there's like, I'm sure that there's weirder stuff out there than just all that,
I take everything as a spectrum. Like we all say spectrum.
I don't.
Like a dial.
Oh, okay.
Like everything's kind of like a dial or a spectrum. And like, again, again, folks, this is an adult content. Be aware, you take this boring missionary is all someone's willing to do, or what they want. Or again, I'm not trying to pick on a religion per se, but it's well known that in a certain religion you can't take off your underwear to procreate with your female
significant other.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So again, is that right? Is that too much? Where you go all the way to the other spectrum where couples are literally like, all right, I'll see you at the end of the sex party, honey, bye.
Yeah.
Like your wife's getting banged by 6 dudes and you're over there getting like whatever just from some
watching. You're just like, this is the greatest ever,
or whatever you're into, or you're off with some whatever.
I'm not okay.
What people are into, I guess.
That's what people are into. That's what they're going to be into. You can't really change that. I don't see anything wrong with consenting adults doing what they want to consent to do.
Yeah.
My problem is when it gets weird and it goes to the child section. Like those motherfuckers should be murdered.
Well, so again, not any of my professional or personal opinions, but it depends on where you're sitting at in the world. I think it's 14 in Russia or some creepy shit.
I don't care. That's too young.
Or again, I got not specifically country, and then there are other states that allow, I think it's 12 or some shit with parent consent. Like it just depends on who you're talking to.
Nope, that's too young.
And again, you have arranged marriages at certain ages, and again, like there's all kinds of,
knowing
as you get into whoever's.
Yeah, knowing what I know now, I think 18 is too young to tell you the honest truth.
I don't think you know anything until you're like 30, 25.
Right.
I think you're still stupid as fuck. Like, with respect.
That's what I'm saying.
Ignorant.
Like, 21 is pushing
That's an ageist comment, I
guess.
But yeah,
that is an ageist comment.
Ageist,
but this is what I'm saying. If the brain has stopped developing scientifically, then you're all good. 25. Like, I'm no dummy.
There we go. That's
yeah, I'm no dummy.
Too emotionally.
I'm no dummy. I told my kids, I know you're going to experiment. I know you're going to do this, but please just wait until you're 25. And if you don't wait until you're 25, please come to me when you're having these experiences so that way we can walk you through it. Because I was young and dumb and made a lot of mistakes myself. But the issue is that the brain doesn't finish fully developing until they're 25.
I think that's like a societal thing. Like we're so just ready to.
That wasn't a blessing picture from the universe. I don't know what was. That was cool. Yeah. We had a hummingbird just land above us. We're sitting around talking around a truck. For those of you who aren't on video, which is all of you, because we don't have this on video. But a hummingbird just came and sat above us. It was really cool. Anyway, what were you saying about 25? Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, no. So I think a lot of stuff you kind of like draw on your experience for life and your decisions. But with respect, you don't have a lot of life to draw on.
Very true.
And
Very
I think
true.
that you spend most of those first 25 years, let's just say at least 15, let's be generous, at least 15, with your head wherever, because it's not on your shoulders. It's not on your shoulders.
Yes.
Most folks don't realize, life in importance, at least until they reach the age of 16, puberty-ish or whatever, 14, some folks. But so for your first 25 years, 15 of it is almost pointless to the sense that you don't know anything.
You're literally learning how to walk,
talk, fucking speak, function in society.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that age.
I'm teaching one of my children to drive right now, and literally the quote that was said was, "I don't understand how people can talk and drive." And I'm like, remember that when all of your friends are in the car. You remember this right now, because it's a lot of information just coming in. Don't take it for granted.
Oh, all the like mental stop and start and what am I doing and all the thinking and driving. Oh yeah.
All the stuff that goes on, all of the threat assessment, all of the, laws that are going on, all of the actually operating the vehicle. And I'm like, now let's teach you to drive a manual.
I can't drive right now. If you stuck me in a car full of adults that were just talking normally, I'd be like, can all of you shut the fuck up, please? I could never be the driver of a van for like a fucking road trip. Never. I could never do that.
Yeah, I can block people out, but if you're going to have like a conversation with me when I'm driving in that scenario, I will tell you to not.
No, I cannot I can answer a question maybe, but
yeah, I'm not going to hold a conversation.
And I got to look behind me and, oh, hey, I'm like, don't try to ask me to do, no.
Yeah, and we're fully functional adults. I'm not going to say we're fully grown because growing up is optional.
Nobody grows up. We're all
getting old is mandatory.
Children. We're all just children in a different stage of life. I look at grown adults, and there are 23-year-olds that I would trust more than certain adults, and it's sad. You are a person by the time you reach a certain age. Like we talked about the other day, I don't feel like I've matured too much at a certain age. You are what you are. Fucking period.
Growing up is optional. Growing old is mandatory. That's the quote I'm going to stick by. You don't have to grow up, but you definitely have to add another candle to the birthday cake, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't celebrate, and adding a candle to the birthday cake is an analogy of growing older, because I know there are people out there that have never had a birthday.
Really? Is this the cultural thing?
Mormons.
They don't celebrate birthdays?
They don't celebrate birthdays. They
Okay,
don't celebrate shit.
Is it like seasons?
No, they don't celebrate. They just don't celebrate.
For example, how old, what's that reference, or how do we?
I'm sure they count the year that they were born because that was on the birth certificate and do the math from there.
So, again, I'm 46. We just don't celebrate birthdays.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I want to give a shout out to culture. I've always loved the way that they describe time. Native Americans, and they talk about moons.
Really?
Right? Or winters.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. I love that. I've always loved that. Too many moons from now.
The
many winters ago. Yeah, it was it was 40 winters ago. Like that. That's the kind of shit. Or like I can't remember what movie I was watching, and he said something. I asked my father when I was born. He said in the summertime. In the summertime like that. He's like, "This is when you were born."
Yeah, to me that makes sense because in a primitive sense, surviving the roughest season, think about it, there's no growth, all the animals are hibernating. Surviving the winter is very, very, very profound. Just surviving the winter.
I take some pictures so you've got like some ways we think of older times, or primitive, you want to use that word, but it just depends like on whose description, because I've seen some descriptions of like Native American folks, and it looks kind of like, okay, they're surviving. I look at other pictures of Native American folks, they look like they walked out of the woods being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, they literally just walked out of the woods, like they just were sent down by divine entity, just living off the land, like thriving to the point to where they're like, I don't even need anything. Like, literally, we just gave you starving white colonials food because we had too much.
We felt sorry for...
Seriously. I can imagine, seriously, them sitting there being like, we watched them now. Like, we just gonna let them die? I mean, like, they obviously have no fucking idea. Like, look what they're doing. Look at the fire they're making. God.
That's the thing that we'll never actually know of. What was the mentality of the Native Americans who actually helped the colonialists? We'll never understand that. We'll never know that.
I think on different separate occasions you might, again, depending on what was going on, depending on the tribe you encountered. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it, and again, too, also depending on the way you presented yourself. If you come in there with like 6 warriors, weapons drawn, ready for a fight, versus, again, too, it was There's that tribe in somewhere off the coast of Africa, I believe. It's on an island or something like that. They're all separate. They're cannibals or something like that. Maybe anyway, but they don't have any contact with people.
Okay.
And forever, people have been trying to make contact with these folks, and they've been trying to get up their boats and give them gifts and shit like that. Been shot with arrows.
Mm-hmm.
The one successful group that went there, they brought a woman. You think about it from a privative sense. You have a bunch of men coming at you. That's a fucking threat, right?
Yeah.
Who is going to send a mother, a female? That's
Fair.
peace. That's peace. So they saw the female and they responded to her because they're like, you're not coming here for war. Obviously, like the men are. Why are you here?
Yeah.
So I think it has a lot to do with that. So again, too, like you had someone say unarmed with no weapons coming out to the, Native Americans with whatever we had, like, hey, I'm coming, versus someone who sees them and automatically shoots somebody. I think it'll depend on, what's going on.
There's that one explorer guy who's on the reels and what have you, and he talks about how one of his companions took a boat full of bananas and tried to make it as a peace offering towards this tribe.
Uh-huh.
And they were just like, fuck you, pal. Basically, they shot at him and they missed him by millimeters, as the story goes. But if you're already a successful tribe who's been surviving for generations in the Amazon, why are you going to stop for a boat full of bananas? Like, I could kill you and take the bananas, but our tribe does not need the bananas. Exactly. We don't even know if that is poisoned.
Exactly. So, and them just thriving. They're not, and we look at them as, these... I'm gonna use the term that the white colonials did in the 1900s. These poor savages, and in all reality, they look at us being like these poor savages.
Yeah.
So I don't look at.
Honestly, from a historical perspective, I really want to know what would have happened had the Native Americans just let the colonialists die. Like, what I want to go to that timeline on that string theory and just watch that evolve, because the Native American culture was very harmonious with nature, very warring. They all still fought and did all that fun stuff, but nevertheless they were more attuned with nature. They were more spiritual. They were less religious and more spiritual, right? If that makes sense. Less religious meaning that they didn't have the church telling them that God wills it and whatever else goes on. Take what you want from the religious aspect and the more spiritual aspect of, maybe there is a greater purpose to this, because all you see is nature and trees and the sky at night, like unfettered by the veil of the light that cities give off. That's the kind of thing that I want to look at. Absolutely. Given the grand scope of things, if I can go into the fourth dimension and just be like, hey, fourth dimensional being, can I just see what would have happened here instead of that? I just want to know. Just want to know. Maybe all of humanity gets wiped out.
It's possible.
Well, everything is possible. That's why string theory exists. The choices you make dictate a future that you never knew that you were going to have.
Going back to the Mandela thing, I think back in the day, in the 80s or whatever, we had that clash of different dimensions that they say. But can you imagine if it happened, I don't know, tens of thousands of years ago? And that's where we got all of our gods from?
Yeah, the Anunnaki. That's why Billy Carson's so big right now. Oh, God. He's talking about the Anunnaki coming down and interfering with human civilization, and that's why there's pyramids all over the place, right? So this is the thing that throws me out, and I don't know if Billy Carson read this about that and whatever else happens. There's this event that took place. I've been reading about it slowly. I really wanted to bring it up after I read all of it to get a good grasp on it. But there's an event that took place in 1984, which is the RA contact with the love light complex and the law of one and all this other good stuff, where this fourth dimensional being is channeled through this lady, and she's given up the secrets of the pyramids and why they were actually used in certain ways for healing and all this other good stuff. And then on the other side, like, you can read these transcripts online for free. And then on the other side, you have Billy Carson touting that exact same thing. And I'm wondering if he read that because, you know, it's been around forever and he's got a decade on me and he's just like trying to get famous off of it. Or if like,
as long as he's not saying the information's his, he all he's stating is a fact. He didn't say I discovered 2 + 2 = 4. He's just saying 2 + 2 = 4, right?
That's a different thing. Yeah. He's not Terrence Howard right now. You know, 1 × 1 = 2. Okay. You're gonna ruffle some feathers with that statement.
I watched some of his stuff. It's pretty interesting.
He's very interesting. And anyway, beside the point. But, you know, Billy Carson saying the exact same thing that I'm finding in these readings, and I'm wondering if like the two are bridged. I'm wondering if he's like validating their information with his research, or he read that stuff and then started validating their information. But he got into all this woo-woo mysticism because he was a kid literally staring up at the sky. I guess that's all I can go on for right now.
The way I kind of think about Mr. Carson is, do you know who Jim Rohn is?
No.
He is a motivational speaker that a lot of people literally just piggyback all this shit, and they like it.
Is he that old white guy from olden times?
White hair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He kind of has the cadence like this.
Yes, and everybody literally has just regurgitated his fucking shit that I listen to. Yeah. Now that it's not fresh, but every single motivational speaker I listen to has like Jim Rohn, like somewhere kind of like, whether they listen to him or the person they listen to him or whatever. And I've heard a couple people reference this guy, and that's where I figured out who he was.
Yeah.
So everyone.
He comes across my feed. Like, I focus on studying a lot of business, not necessarily motivation, but motivation and business kind of going hand in hand, because nobody wants to specifically tell you how to sell your insurance packet to the masses, but they will motivate you to find a way to sell your insurance packet to the masses, or whatever. Chuki
somebody or whatever, that motivational / salesman guy or whatever, bald and shit. Yeah, I think he's good.
Andy Elliott.
Yeah, he's a good example of how to sell your specific insurance packet.
He is. Yeah, he is a great example. He picks apart what the thing is and uses the psychology of sales, and it goes deep into it and specifically tells you how to do it. But that's his business. His business is literally how to come into your business and motivate your sales team to sell their packets and stuff. And he goes deep into it. Solar cars, you know, because he was a car salesman. Solar cars, real estate. I've seen him give speeches on all that stuff.
And now he's just selling himself.
He's literally selling his brand. Yeah.
Yep. Brand.
I know, right?
When I hear that, thinking just someone like ripping their shirt open, it's like whatever their brand is.
Look at my new Toast of the Weird t-shirt.
It's just on your chest. It's just tattooed on your chest.
Gross. Don't tattoo any brands on your body.
I might tattoo ours eventually, fuck.
That's different. We built it.
If we get big enough, I might just be like, bro.
Here it is. I've stopped counting the episodes. Once we got into the top 1% of podcasts, I stopped counting the episodes, but I think we're like episode 24 here. Here it is on episode 24, written in audio forever on the internet.
It's like on the bottom of my foot, always walking on that toast. Every step I take,
I've controlled my own destiny and built my own brand enough to tattoo it on my big toe. Or pinky toe, if we're cool enough for that. I love it. But I forgot even what rant I was going on.
We go down a lot of rants.
We do. And
it's like a couple alleys. Sometimes they dead end. Sometimes they lead into smaller, darker alleys.
That's true. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Go to somewhere where you can buy Toast of the Weird merchandise and buy some merchandise, folks. Because it doesn't exist at this moment in time. As of this publishing, we don't have it yet. It is in the works. We're not like ninjas or butterflies and have all of our stuff together and we're just like, buy our t-shirts because our podcast is there to sell you t-shirts. Yeah. So, I mean, putting the plane together as we fly. I think the important part is to practice, get over that everybody's going to listen to this and be scared kind of mentality to like, fuck it, everybody can listen to us and
we make a couple
laugh at us.
Couple racier, juicier bits here and there, but I think we make a pretty good job right away being like, you know what? We can't that was because again, everyone has thoughts and it's just all about how you say it, but a lot of people just don't want to admit the truth to themselves. And that's the shitty part is everyone gets upset when they hear the truth. And they get defensive, and that's really what it is.
Well, I don't know, man. If somebody came to me and was like, hey, I went over the last 20 episodes of your podcast. My name's Joe Rogan. I'm here to help. I'd be like, my pants right there, dude. I'd be like, that's awesome.
Really? Is it just because you have not met enough? I don't know.
I think I've totally fanboy Joe Rogan at this point. I really would.
If he showed up right now in like a limousine or whatever and just rolled up whatever, I'd be like, hey, Joe, did you want to go smoke some weed real quick? We're almost done.
He'd be like, not even.
Yeah, he would. He'd
be like smoking with Snoop Dogg. He'd be like, you want a what?
Exactly. I'd walk up and like, yo, Snoop, can I take a hit?
There you go. That's better. Versus like, I got some for you. He'd be like, ha! Yeah. Okay. Let's see what your good commercial is about.
I got some pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. Your ego would be assaulted and you'd immediately defend it. Whereas I'd just be like, you want to give me tips?
No, I mean, that's cool.
Thank you. I
get it. Offering someone a Budweiser when they drink Cristal, and I get it. I get that.
Like Shane Gillis rolls up. What you got, Budweiser? You don't have any Bud Light? Forget you.
I'm just saying, like there's still 30%, still 30%, no matter where you go. I'm just saying 30% THC.
Oh, it's been so commercialized now.
Yeah,
I'm dating myself back to when you had to buy it in a dark alley and hope that
one guy who had the best.
Yeah, and hope you didn't get stabbed.
Yeah,
I remember being a kid, man, and somebody's in a dark alley. They literally were like elated that they got a pound for like $20. He's like, I got a pound for $20. He shows up and it's literally weeds. And it's brown, and it's like there's nothing that's gonna come of it.
Back in the day, fucking
yeah, that's some like this is where the cannabis war was fought in the streets. Literally, now you can just walk into your local dispensary or cross state lines and walk to their dispensary and get yourself a motel and have it there. Don't cross state lines with any legal or medical cannabis because that's a felony.
I still think it's really weird to tip my dealer. Or they call it your plug now or whatever. Or the cashier at the dispensary. Oh, yeah.
Go on, dude. I'm like so out of the game. It's not
it's a little weird.
You tip your bud tender?
Yeah. Whoever, it's the cashier at a retail price, so I'll give them a couple bucks. But sometimes I'm just like, back in the day, I'm like, huh.
Back in the day, that was called markup.
Exactly. I don't remember, What's really cool, though, is everything is like... I will have to say it's way nicer just rolling up whenever between the hours of 8 and 6 in the morning or whatever it is and showing it to someone's place who's not in their pajamas,
right?
Who doesn't just stay at home all day. And like, again, that's cool. Like, you smoke weed and that was the dealer lifestyle. But literally the whole hour and a half, you're sitting there, you're like, is this the day that they come in? Is this the day that, is that the guy I've never seen who's a cop? I was like, is that, remember back in the day, you used to be like, see, like on your chest, like, remember that?
Watch out.
A couple of our friends got popped and, shit like that. So there's all that out of the way.
No, I know we kind of hung out with different cliques back in the day, but then we were similar cliques, but I always would watch people's shoes. What do you mean? So there's old urban legends that undercover cops would wear trainers or sneakers or running shoes, just in case you ran, they were ready to go. I was always on the lookout for running shoes, sporty shoes, that kind of thing. Because like you're a cop, you don't have Chucks, Docs, sandals, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a new person and you got running shoes, they're like, hey, you know where I could get some weed right now, brother? And you just be like, no, man, I don't smoke weed at all, bro. And walk off. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, that is back in the day during our downtown. You could literally walk around and they'd be like, weed, Sid, Coke. Remember the first time it happened, I was like, what did that guy say?
Here we go. We're in the drug culture. Let's just discredit ourselves right off the bat. Don't listen to anything we've said because we've done drugs, kids. Drugs are bad.
That's why you should listen to us, because we've done drugs. You know what? They're not drugs anymore. It's not a drug. Well, I mean, I guess no. Microdosing is legal now in California,
and it's making its way. Yeah, dude. Like this war on drugs has been lost, and the establishment's like, well, if we're gonna lose this, and the prison industrial complex isn't gonna have, people rolling through that to make us money, let's just legalize it and make money directly off the people instead of throwing them in prison for quote unquote victimless crimes. That's debatable, but
I don't think you should be pulled over and arrested because you have drugs on you. Possession, that's fine. But it's the same thing if someone was literally, I was driving by and someone's chugging a gallon of fucking whiskey. No.
Yeah,
You'd be
like,
arrested.
what are you doing,
What's wrong
bro?
with you?
What are you
so
doing?
the whole smoking drugs or being just doped up in public and like that to me is, I'm just like, nope, that's intoxication in public. You don't let someone drunk wander around like that, do you?
Yeah.
Why do we let drug addicts wander around like that? What's the difference?
Public intoxication. I really think that public intoxication is just a reason to throw somebody into the drunk tank to get them to sober up. Because if you go into the entertainment districts in any city, there's going to be drunk yahoos walking from club to club or out of the, movies or venue or whatever the case it is.
Really what it is this is what the law is. Hey, you're not being responsible enough in your actions. We're going to take that responsibility for you right now.
Yeah, it's the nanny state.
If you were responsible enough to know that 3 drinks was enough right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But you still need to be parented and want to be. Yeah, and that's the issue with life is people want someone to parent them or make their choices, or
their parents didn't parent them, so the society has to parent them.
Or, again, we don't parent as society. I'm not trying to pick on anyone in particular here, but if you look at society in the 50s and 60s, there's just certain things you just didn't do because it was shunned by society. Like I was watching, let's see here, this is Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Okay.
Way back in like 1984, 6 or something like that. They caught this lady that he, I don't know, was kidnapping or was forcing to help him, or I don't know, she was trying to see his side or some shit like that, right? So they caught her and she was like getting some videotape of him not being a murderer or something like that. And they're like throwing her in the game and they're just like discrediting her, right? And the way that they're talking about her just seems so mild. And they're just like, she did this. And they're like, she's had 2 to 3 sexual partners in a year. And the whole crowd's like, oh! And nowadays I'm just like,
that's
2 or 3 in a year? I was like, that's respectable nowadays.
Yeah.
That's really respectable nowadays if a young lady has 2 or 3 fucking lovers in a year. And now, like, back in the day, they're like, look at this.
Yeah, what was it? I saw a short. It was like, what's your body count? 100. I'm not even going to mess with you, lady. Or whatever the case may be. And I was just like, man, what happened? Do these kids not have like STD education? I know I'm being generationalist right now, and like, do you not have any cares in the world? Did you not have a dad? Like, what the hell happened to you?
Instant gratification.
Yeah, that's a lot of what it is. And I mean,
and there's no way to carry on anything meaningful because you can't communicate.
Yeah, go you. I'm not knocking that, but like there's some serious, deeper issues that are going on in our society aside from just like, what's your body count? Well, okay. Back in the day, it used to be 1 for your entire life. 2 or 3 is respectable by today's standards. 2 or 3 back in the 80s apparently was a huge like, oh.
Yeah, 2 or 3 in a year.
In a year.
But yeah, I was just, and then.
Shit, that's some people's one night. Yeah. Like, if they want to bang you in the bathroom, you should probably rethink your life choices. I'm just going to come out and say that. And I know there's this whole, like, masculine bullshit or whatever, but seriously, no matter who you are as a person, have more respect for yourself. Holy cow, man. Male or female or third gendered, whatever non-binary descript you want to add to yourself. Gosh, all right, we gotta go lighter. This is lighter. All right, so my loving wife is telling me, we'll end on this story. We'll end on a light note right here. My loving wife is telling me about this person who's non-gender specific, non-binary, throw that out there, whatever the case you want to do. This person marries a roller coaster. Have you heard about this?
How did the roller coaster give consent?
That's a great question. So they got married. The roller coaster was into it.
I'm sorry. I refuse to call an inanimate object them or they. But go ahead.
I'm going to respect the neutral pronouns to describe this roller coaster as a very consent-giving, sentient being that was married by a literal person, head, 2 arms, 2 legs. That story is out there, right? I thought that was weird enough. But no, it doesn't stop there. This person cheated on this roller coaster. Go figure that out. Leave that up to your imagination.
With a bumper car?
With a fence. With a fence. Ended up divorcing the roller coaster.
I can't listen anymore. You need to stop.
That's
This is some.
That's exactly what I said.
I literally
no.
like I'm being brainwashed as you're describing.
No.
Like the virus is literally like
the mind virus is infecting
that is
you.
literally like if you're like, hey, do you want to hear a fictional story?
No.
I'm not trying to discredit this person, but it's the. You know what that seems like to me? I have no other way of getting attention. Please look at me.
Okay, so let me finish the story. This person divorces the roller coaster.
What if the roller coaster wanted to go through counseling before divorce? Isn't it? Wait, it's a no-fault divorce state? I'm sorry.
My first question was, does the divorce have to pay alimony or maintenance or any of those things?
But wait,
No?
because the human cheated on the roller coaster, right, with the fence.
Yes. And then married the fence. That's where the story stops. The person married.
I just feel bad for the
fence.
roller coaster. The roller coaster.
I know, right?
Okay.
I was like, so
It's there through this whole.
what if it was the fence that guarded the roller coaster?
Dude, you're getting way
Like,
too much.
This person was like, I'm leaving you, roller coaster, for the fence. I have to confess, I see the fence every time that we're together.
Wait. Does the fence ever touch the roller coaster? Because if the fence touches the roller coaster, the person was riding the roller coaster or touching the fence at the same time.
That's a threesome. You're right.
Or what is it? What is it called if like she rides a roller coaster and then goes and fucks the fence, or fucks the fence and then rides a roller coaster?
I'm not assuming gender, but you know,
When that just them being gross, I guess.
that is them being gross, being very gross. And as it was described to me, this person felt tingles every time they walked past this fence. And I was just like, at one point, this mental disorder has to stop. At a certain point, we have to just go as a society. That's what you want to do? This is the person you need to talk to, because wow. And then the person that's going to counsel this person through marital, I don't even know what to call this, between marriage counseling between a roller coaster and a person. Like, how do you do that? How in the hell do you do that?
You know, so if this is a living computer system, right? We're a program,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
Would that not be a example of a corrupted file?
I mean, that really would.
I mean, the two people involved in that, the person doing the counseling and the counselor, or what you're like that, to me, I would just be like, this is, I did not go to,
This is
I
Sims.
don't have a degree on it. This is some, could you refuse patient? I mean, is it court ordered?
Yes.
I have to.
No. Well, I mean, unless it's court ordered, you can refuse to treat someone. You're just like, I can't bring it professionally, emotionally, maturely enough to treat you for the counseling between the roller coaster and yourself. But I can counsel you because you have, I'm sure there's a name for it, but I don't know what it is.
I guess it's a
Inanimate
draw,
aphilia?
or it's a, whatever the term is. So I guess if you accept patients from the state, you get paid, and that's the,
Yeah.
cool part. But the drawback is you don't get to
You
choose.
deal with all the
patients.
people who probably aren't rich enough to get their own help.
Yeah,
like-
cool. I sit there, listen to this wacky person for an hour, I guess, if that's my day. Doodling over there about.
But you have to try it.
Hey, hold on. It's
You
not
can't
their
just
fault.
listen to them.
It's not their fault,
podcast
Wayne, that
about
this
them.
person's been on the fence about it.
Dude,
Like
that was
literally,
bad.
right? Are they grinding on the
That
fence
was
about it?
bad. They're grinding on the fence about it. I know. I'm thinking that they had up and down emotions with the roller coaster too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their feelings just kind of you know, had too much anticipation for a huge letdown, you know. But anyway, we're going to cut it there, folks. If you've enjoyed any of the malarkey that's come out of our mouths for the past hour, 1, thank you for enjoying an hour with us. 2, share it with a friend, like, subscribe, follow. You know what it is.
Cleanse your parasites.